AITA for kicking my entire family out at 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve after they showed up unannounced? NTA. That's a huge boundary stomp and ridiculous expectations. They woke you up at 1 a.m. demanding you let them stay the night at your house and were being disrespectful. NTA. WTF? You can't spring up on someone like that, especially during a goddamn pandemic. That could not only put them in danger, but your little baby who is still building up their immune system. They kinda did it to themselves to come at 1 a.m. without getting permission to. NTA. You feel bad about turning away the kids they brought because you're a compassionate person. But that's why they brought little kids to your door at 1 a.m., so you'd have no choice but to let them in. They used the kids to manipulate you. You did the right thing. NTA. If they didn't plan on you saying no, then they didn't plan well. Especially after you said no at least twice. NTA. They clearly didn't care enough to respect you when you said no the first few times they asked, and they just assumed that you'd have to let them stay if they just showed up. Your house isn't even big enough for that many people. What were they expecting? NTA. You've set boundaries which they've continuously stormed over. You told them that no, they couldn't stay over when they asked after already telling them no, you wouldn't visit them due to the pandemic, and they chose to ignore you, so that's on them. The fact that they still had the audacity to show up at 1 a.m. with the entire family of 9 and threw a tantrum when told to leave is still on them. They've shown you time and time again that what you say doesn't matter to them, and now they get to deal with the consequences of their actions. Next time they pull the "but we are his grandparents" stunt, tell them that being a grandparent is a privilege and not a given right, and if they are continuously going to disrespect you as your son's father, then they've only got themselves to blame for no relationship with your son, as he doesn't need to see his fathers being disrespected by people just because they are family. Merry Christmas to your little family of 3. NTA. No one should show up unannounced. Period. Add in the fact it's 3 a.m., a holiday, and during a pandemic. TF. Given your already strained relationship and the fact that you already discussed this and explicitly said no, I don't see how any of this could possibly be your fault. I feel bad for the kids as well, but their parents/grandparents put them in the situation, not you. NTA. They're making you feel bad for a problem they brought upon themselves. They showed up unannounced when you had already said you wouldn't be hosting. Also, do they not believe in communicable diseases? WTF. They're also assholes for showing up at 1 a.m. Who does that? NTA. They seem to not care about the relationship with you but just the baby. They only want to be salty and visit the baby. Like, WTF is that? And no, respect people's space and privacy. I will not answer the door if you didn't get my okay to come over. Hoping you can find some peace today. Ent is so hard. Like, WTF. Showing up unannounced at 1 a.m. 9 people. They did a terrible thing to you and your husband and child. They ruined your Christmas. You should go no contact for a while until they apologize. I am so sorry they did this to you. Did they think you would be happy about this? NTA. From what I can tell. I don't know how you talked to them or anything, but what they did was incredibly rude and insensitive. Or at least some of them. I'm sure some thought that you had offered an invitation. I don't know. It's likely there were hotels nearby they could have stayed at. NTA. Of course, reason one is it's a pandemic, you don't know who each of them has been in contact with or how careful they've been. But beyond that, what an imposition. At 1 a.m. they woke you up and with no notice expected you to, what, find them all places to sleep, make up the guest rooms, the couch, give up your bed. Then in the morning feed them breakfast, never mind that you weren't ready for 9 extra mouths to feed, then Christmas dinner. I'd bet if you said there wasn't enough in the house for that many people they would have told you to just go grocery shopping, no big deal to spend unbudgeted money, find a store open on a holiday and so on. Nope, that is rude on so many levels, family or not, and you did the right thing to clamp down on that boundary, stomping hard. Enjoy Christmas with your little one and take well-deserved naps later, and turn off your phones or block them. NTA. You explicitly told them no earlier. You are not obligated to allow anyone to spend the night with you, so for them to show up like that at 1 a.m. demanding to is very ridiculous, especially during a pandemic. As for the where would they go question, they brought that upon themselves. NTA. You told them to not come over 2x, so not only did they show up, they decided to show up like it was family reunion, hoping that you'll be forced to say yes since they traveled a long distance with multiple people including children. They still don't respect you and your decisions. It's not your fault. They brought this on themselves. NTA at all. You set boundaries, they disrespected them, end of story. Plus, there's a global pandemic going on and you haven't prepared for them coming. Turning them away was the right choice, and honestly, you might want to consider just cutting them off. It seems like they're just using you to get to your child, and that's incredibly cruel. I don't know the whole story, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but maybe a relationship with them isn't worth it. NTA. Poor kids. Being raised by crazy parents and grandparents. NTA. You told them no multiple times, for good reasons by the way, and they still decided to ignore you and show up without permission. First off, it's a 3-bedroom house. There isn't room for 9 more people to stay with you. Second, it's a damn pandemic, so that's just pure idiotic they would even try this. Third, it's your house, not theirs. If you don't want them in your house, that's your choice and they have to respect that. Honestly, I don't think you went overboard by threatening to call the cops. They were trespassing. If they didn't leave, that would have absolutely been the right thing to do. I hate saying this, but it may be better for you and your family to go back to no contact with them and cut them out. They sound far too selfish to ever care about anything but themselves. NTA. You told them no, repeatedly with valid reasons. Just showing up at 1 a.m. doesn't invalidate those reasons. Sounds like they were hoping to guilt you into staying with you. Hotels are generally open 24/7. They could have found an open one easily. NTA. No one will steamroll you quite like family. NTA. And cut them out of our life. They still homophobic and they got like zero impulse control to be traveling for 9 hours in a pandemic with little children. You just gotta cut them completely from our life, they are not worth the effort. NTA. Who shows up with 9 people unannounced? NTA, and for your own sake, let that guilt go. They had no right, and I guarantee you, even with this perceived insult, as in, they will perceive this as an insult when, in fact, it is they who have insulted, they will come around again and likely perform another insult upon you again, so don't sweat it, and even more importantly, don't allow it. I would block these people from your life and not let the baby be influenced by them. NTA. Emotional manipulation isn't cool. They used those kids to try and get their way after you told them no. Don't feel guilty. Feel proud you kept your boundaries intact. Merry Christmas. Former night shift for a hotel here, you can easily find a hotel room on Christmas Eve. We were always below occupancy for Christmas, which you would think would be the other way around. They were fine. NTA. NTA. You told your family not to come. Not only did they show up, but they came at 1 a.m., which is ridiculous. It's their own fault they have nowhere to go. It's crazy that they expected you to just let them in when there's not enough space for everyone and it's a pandemic.